Howdy, howdy. How's everybody doing today?
Doing great, my brother. How you doing?
Doing good, doing good.
Oh,
As you guys
good to
see,
see
we are here with, over to the side here. This is not, Travis. This is H-Town. Travis will be joining us shortly if he's able to get off his mission and be able to join this stream this evening. We normally do Thursdays, but we're doing a special one tonight to be able to include H-Town in it. So that's why the change up in the time and living's different. US Lily, absolutely, send questions away, or you're welcome to send them on DM if you don't want to ask in the chat. Things we're going to talk about. I just wanted to touch base. Who is this fellow H-Town? He's a fellow content creator on YouTube. I was able to, jump into his stream several weeks back. Able to learn about who he was and what he puts out there for information to the veteran community, and really respected that and wanted to be able to have him on our stream. And fortunately, he was able to get me on his stream first. So that was really nice to be able to, share what Hellfish Haven does and what WAR's about to his crowd. And then as well, to now have him in return on our stream to be able to, share a little bit of his life and a little bit of, how he's come from, Desert Storm to be a veterans advocate these days.
yes.
So H-Town, feel free to, add anything that I've missed in there.
Nah, you didn't miss anything. Tell me what, anything you want me to talk about. Let me know about my background or anything. Let me know.
Yeah, if you just want to give like a little, rundown, branch of service, what you did, what brought you to, be working on the behalf of other veterans, making sure that we've got everything, that we deserve.
Okay, so I joined the military back in 1988. I joined the Army, U.S. Army. I'm from Houston, Texas. And when I say Houston, I'm not talking about a suburb of Houston. I'm from Houston. I live 5 minutes from downtown. And I joined the military. I was thinking about going to college, but I said, I don't have much money. So I said, I'm going to go in the military and get some educational benefits. So, and when I joined the military, I was a tanker. I had a few jobs. My official job was armor crewman, being in a tank. However, I also was an 88 Mike, was a truck driver, cargo, and I was also a 77 Foxtrot, which is a fuel Hemet, both of them Hemets, fuel driver. But by the time we called it a line unit, when I moved back to the line unit, being back on tanks right before Desert Storm broke out, and of course I was, I was pulled up in that. And we hadn't had a major war in, since Vietnam, so this was a new thing. We were still in green uniforms, those of us that were in vehicles like tanks, because they figured we didn't need the brown camo. They gave that to the infantrymen. And I served. I was over there in Desert Storm and First Armored Division. Yeah. And that happened, what happened over there, and came back, and I was stationed in Europe at the time. Went back to Europe, hadn't been home in 2.5 years, went home for a little time, they told me to come back. It's time for me to get my orders, and I went to Colorado. That's where I exited the military, ETS'd. Well, what I found, I moved to Virginia. I didn't come back home to Texas. I wanted to go to school, and I went to school in Virginia. What I found to be very difficult was being a veteran trying to find a job. Because we have to let them know, show our DD214. Well, whenever I would show that I was a veteran, they wouldn't give me a job. So I had to stop telling them, which I don't know if that's legal or not, but I stopped telling them, and I got jobs. And I had asked someone, and he said he had the same difficulty. So I don't know what the stigma was, with us being in the military. Maybe there was a stigma. And so fast forward to finish school, taught school a while, and then, you know, I moved back home once I finished school. I went to graduate school down here in Texas because they have a Hazelwood ACA program where you could go to school. So 6 years after being in Virginia, finishing college, I came down here, went to graduate school. I didn't finish. So when I came down here, it was very interesting that how they had a lot of stuff about veteran benefits, and it was like I have to give the Vietnam veterans a very thank you, because down here around, I came back in 1998, they started kind of coming into groups together like for therapy, and as a result they started collaborating about benefits. And so many of them, and it was more of them than it was of us, that because when you're younger you usually don't go to no
you're not thinking about that.
thinking about that. So I didn't think about it. I didn't even know we had a Houston VA into 1999. It's been here for 78, 100 years. I never knew it until I had to go over there for some reason. I don't know. Oh, my grandmother said it was something different about me, and she had my uncle take me over there. So I'm over here. I'm doing this group. They tell me about benefits. I said I had tried before, and we were actually supporting each other outside just the therapy for mental health, and we were supporting each other. Well, what I found they had a group, and it was pretty good, but I found it to be, and I helped several veterans with their benefits, but I found it to be difficult helping people because I'm regimented about handling the business, and some people are not as regimented. They want to just tell, they want me to walk them through everything. So I helped several veterans get their benefits, several get their 100%. But here's the thing, after I got my, people help me. Here's the thing, it's just too exhausting. So I felt like, hey, let me come over here. If I could do something on like social media, YouTube in particular, and use my educational background, I could put out information. So the first 6 months to a year, I was just putting out video clips, but my daughter kept pressuring me to go go live. And I was kind of paranoid. I said, what about the VA? I don't need the VA watching me and all this type of stuff. But I finally just one day got on there about a year and a half ago and just started going at it. Yeah. So I've been on since 2023 November.
Yeah. So we had this question come up. The question, what benefits do widows of veterans have?
Okay, now when it comes to widows of veterans, it depends on the veteran's rating. So if the veteran is just a veteran, you definitely there's going to be certain benefits as far as giving money toward burial. Now, if they're a disabled veteran, they're going to get a $2,000 stipend. And if let's say they're between 0 and 90%, okay? If they're between 0 and 90%, and the veteran had an open claim, the spouse can be substituted. If they are I'm gonna be honest with you, they don't necessarily have to be married. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I want y'all to listen to me.
Yeah.
Listen. Now, if you're married legally, they can get the benefits. So let's say you had an open claim. The family member, the dependent children, dependent parents, and specifically the dependent spouse can be substituted into the claim. If let's say they win, all you will get is the back pay. They call it they have a name for it, begin with an S. I forget what they call it, but it's what's one in the back pay. Huh?
The survivor benefits.
Yeah, now it's a name they have for it. I forgot what they called it. It's a little fancy name. Now, however, and then you get, those type of benefits. Now, if they receive 100% post after they pass away, and the claim is won, and yes, you can be substituted into the claim, and in addition to that, not only be substituted into the claim, if the claim is denied, you can appeal it. But you can only use the evidence that the veteran have. And you may be able to use also the death certificate. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is very important to understand that it's two different things. Widows, that if you pass away, if a veteran passes away and the spouse, let's just use the spouse for an example, and the spouse, the veteran was 100% for 10 years, or the veterans died of a service-connected condition, that could be from 0 to 100%. If it's service-connected, they will get what they call DIC death benefits. Okay, what is called death indemnity, something like that, but it's DIC death benefits, and so they will get that. Now, here's the thing: we talked about 0 to 90%. If the veteran was 100%, so I want you to see the two differences. Being substituted into the claim is separate than getting the benefits if they died of a service-connected disability and the spouse qualified. You got to ask for both of those separately. Okay? Substitute into the claim is one thing. Getting the benefits of a survivor or widow, a qualifying dependent, is different. And if they're 100% permanent total, they're going to get the CHAMP VA health care for them for the rest, pretty much till they get older, the spouse, and the children get it up to a certain age. And they also going to get CHAMP VA, Chapter 35 educational benefits, and of course the stipend. No, they do not get the whole check of the veteran. They don't. If a veteran's 100%, you're only going to get about $1,600 a month.
Now she asked, what if the veteran passed away before it was granted?
You say if the veteran passed away before it was granted? Yeah, if the veteran passed away before it was granted, that's how it would work. If it's 0 to 90%, if it's 0 to 90% and the veteran passes away, you're just going to get the back pay. If the only thing would be different if what they passed away from was the service-connected disability. Okay, so if they passed away of that, it don't matter what percentage. They don't ain't no wait time on that. They can get it right then, but they have to pass away from that condition, or the condition caused, or the ailment was related to condition. So let's say you passed away of high blood pressure, it caused a stroke or something like that. So as long as so that's why you need a copy of the death certificate. And if you can show that the service-connected condition caused it or was a contributing factor, you need to make sure you get that death certificate and you can push that. But if the veteran passes away, you saying with a claim open, you saying?
Lily, what was status? Was the claim still open for to be granted?
And if
they just posted here too.
Yes, okay. So yes. Yeah, so and if they were 100% and passed away, they get the all the benefits of a dependent of 100% permanent total veteran, or TDIU, which is a permanent rating. But if they have a claim, they're going to be substituted into the claim. Don't let them tell you cannot be substituted into the claim. Yes, you can. The VA will lie to you. Has the VA ever lied to you, brother, told you something that wasn't right?
Many times, unfortunately.
Okay, yeah. So they'll tell you, oh, you don't qualify. You have a year. Now listen, you need to file within that year so you can get that back pay. They call it so you automatically, if they were receiving disability already, let's say we ain't dealing with the claim, but if they were receiving disability, they'll get that month's check. So the veteran passes away on the 1st, or the 1st to the 31st, they get the check for that month. That's it. There's something payment on death, they call it. So that's how that works. But yes, you can be substituted to the claim. I have videos on that. Now, any other questions?
All right. Don't see any yet. So let's go to the next thing that we really want to talk about today too was, folks, when they get out of the service, a lot of folks feel lost. A lot of folks, wind up, I got the 214. Like you said, your 214 wasn't opening doors for you. It wasn't saying,
No.
go here and, you get a job here, get this, a lot of things are sold, once you have that veteran status, everything's going to open up for you, no problem, and a lot of times guys learn that when you get out, the only one that cares about us and what we did is ourselves.
Yes. And I really, I was young, so I wasn't really thinking about so much being a veteran because this is the first time I ever did it. So I didn't know. And I just started picking up on things. And what I've kind of deduced over the years is the fact that I think sometimes people have a little resentment. Like, let's say you're in the National Guard or what they call it. They call them weekend warriors. What the reserve. They can still keep their job and go and do duty on the weekend. And I think some people may resent that. So when they hear, oh, veterans, this and that, veterans doing that. So when we come to the job, they thinking, I guess we supposed to get some special privileges. We do get for federal jobs, you get 10 points. And everybody may not feel cool with that. And another thing people may be bothered by, the fact that veterans can receive VA disability benefits and work, it depending on the condition, depending on the status, as long as they ain't based on unemployability. Most veterans work with 0 to 90%. Most veterans work. And if you're 100% permanent total, you can work too. So that may bring resentment from others.
And the big thing I've seen too is, a lot of folks, they're looking for what to do. And a lot of guys will wait until it's been, 10 years and they need something. That's when they reach out and they start touching base with somebody. They take, you get out of the military, you want nothing to do with, veteran status, you want nothing to do with the military, you just want to go on your own way and, make your own path. And I've seen, guys wait until they're hurt, wait until that back pain starts really, affecting things and, really wait till your knees about to give out before you go back and say, hey, I was jumping out of planes, what can I do about this? And, the best thing folks can do is, get in touch with, a veteran service organization, as soon as you can, don't wait, those years and years after, make sure, when you get out, you have that, time window that the VA gives you that, you can cover, anything that happens to you right as soon as you get out. So, take advantage of that, sign up for the VA when you are upon your discharge, go get claims evaluated immediately instead of having to wait, go back and get, those letters from other friends that were with you and things like that. What holds the most weight is your medical record now, things that you've done and gone and seen, on the aid stations or, on the, the military treatment facilities, those things, those records, get a copy of them before you even get out if you can. And, bring that with you and, hold that dearly because that's going to be your ticket to, the VA afterwards.
Yeah. So basically what happens, sometimes many of us get out the military, we want nothing to do with the federal government after being in such a, I guess, restrictive controlled environment. And our first experiences, unfortunately, is usually with the VA, the VHA, the VA hospital. So many of us may get turned off going to the VA hospital, and so the last, like you say, but that's when we realize we go there when we really need to. And if it's the case, it's something related to our military service, we probably have to go over to the VBA, the Veteran Benefit Administration. But here's the problem. They don't have no step-by-step guide on what to do. If you don't get help from a VSO or somebody helping you, back then when I was coming through, there was no online stuff to help you with benefits, like that. Not even 2010. It wasn't really nothing up to then. So that started coming later with the younger veterans, y'all coming and y'all more tech savvy with computers. So I think, yes, don't quit because you got denied. Please don't quit because you got denied. Go ahead, brother.
So you song around H-Town vet, North Side, Mikey G. Hope you both having a good time. Good day so far. Hello, H-Town family.
Yes, indeed. And I want to say to our brother, if he's still here, to the Salty Old Marine, peace, brother. We glad you in here. We thank y'all. Any question? Shout out to our sister too here. Now say Brown Lady. I remember you. That's my sister Gwen. Love to you. Go ahead, brother.
And so I showed you a page the other day that we had shared, and we'd gone over, and it's seen that this page has a lot of great information. The page is a little dated. There are some links that are dead on it, so I'm going to forewarn folks. As we share this information, some of it may be dead links. Make sure that stuff is up to date as you're using it. But this, the amount of information that this person went out and and sourced is absolutely incredible. So I'm going to do a share screen.
Yes, it is.
And I'm going to show you guys this page, and we're going to go over some of the things from this.
See, this is important, family, because I'm going to tell you something. We spend so much time fighting for our benefits that we don't know how to cope once we get the benefits. So we get the benefits, but therapeutically, we don't know what to do to relax. We're always, once we got the benefits, we're fearful that the VA is about to take them away. So we need, the information you showed here is really good, showing how to relax and do things and reach out to other vets. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. So here you see on the page, this Operation We Are Here. If you go to operationwearehere.com, they have got a whole lot of information for folks. If you want to help the military community, what their mission is, resources here you see, everything is broken down into sections. Veteran and spouse, businesses, you can click down here.
Yes, indeed. See, that's what I'm talking about. Please go. Now, what's the link? What if they were to put something into the search? What would they put in there to look it up?
operationwearehere.com. This is this website.
Okay.
And then for today, there's so many topics that we click on here, but for today specifically, I want to come down here to recreation opportunities, retreats, vacations, free. And we're going to be clicking
free.
Absolutely. And now a lot of folks, know about, the different benefits that are out there, and, you see, what we have, but this has a whole list of things. Some folks may know about, being able to go to Shades of Green, be able to use that. Folks know about, Busch Gardens. I mean, that's one of the first things I see here.
I didn't know about Busch Gardens. Now you say Shades of Green's in Florida, right?
Yep.
And tell them about that Shades of Green. Is that Pensacola or Jacksonville?
It's right outside of Disney. It's actually on the Disney resort, like on the park's grounds.
And you can get some type of military discount. And tell them people have weddings there and stuff. Is that correct?
Yep. And the Order of Merit goes, active duty, Purple Heart, retired, veteran status. So if you book far enough in ahead, you'll be able to use the services best.
Now, is that for 100% veterans with the ID card also?
It is for everybody. So any veteran can use it.
Oh, any veteran. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And so have you ever used it before, brother?
I have not used it, but I had a soldier that when he went home on R&R used it. So that used to be one of the top criterias that, soldiers on, R&R for their 2 weeks. And he was able to take him and his family down there, and, half the price of what a resort normally would cost for, adults, 2 adults and 3 kids to be able to go to Disney for a week. He was able to get that for half.
Okay.
And then right here, you can see here too, free retreats, opportunities, military veterans, their families. These are all free admission. You got Balboa Park in San Diego, Busch Gardens.
Oh, whoa. I didn't know about all that.
Yeah. All of these right here, all free.
So you're saying traveling to, and you don't have to be a resident of the state to use it?
Correct.
Did you come upon this because this person put this all in one place?
Yes. So I'd seen some things like the Busch Gardens thing I'd seen before, and I'd seen advertised on other military programs, but the information that this woman has put together here on her site has just opened up to so many more things that are out there.
Now look, if y'all got any places y'all know in y'all area or throughout the country, put them in the chat, places that you can go and you get benefits if you know of, in addition to this. Now, you actually brought it up the other time we were talking. Remember, tell them about that access card where you can go to all federal, what do you call it, federal parks.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I want I want to grab the actual card to show folks. So I'm going to jump off camera for 1 second.
I'll be here. You know, I'm gonna tell more lies. I'm gonna talk about you when you leave. So go ahead. I'm smiling your face though. I'm gonna talk about you.
Entertain the folks. Thank you, H. John.
Now listen. So U.S. Army Grunt says that it's about Busch Gardens is located in Tampa, Florida, not Jacksonville. Okay, so Busch Gardens is in. I didn't know they had a Busch Gardens. I knew there was one in Virginia. Did not know about that in Williamsburg, Virginia. Now, I want to see what our brother Charlton is saying here. He said, "You guys are young. I'm over 65 and on Social Security retirement. I am VA disabled. People confuse SSDI with VA disability. Yes, there's a big difference between the two, family. Okay, veteran family, you got to understand something. When it comes to VA disability, it's through the Department of Veteran Affairs, and it works in segments. You can be partially disabled, 0 and 10% increments, 10, 20, all the way up to 100%. With Social Security, either you're totally disabled or not. And just because you qualify for one, don't mean you qualify for the other. Now, they can't help you, but these are two separate agencies with different qualifications and requirements. Now, listen what Betty says. Agree, I thought it was in Virginia. Yeah, there's one. So apparently there's more than one. Like Six Flags, they had several Six Flags here. They had several Six Flags. Give me a second here. And so let me see what y'all saying in the comments up here. Make sure you don't omit nobody. So we got the family in here. We want to say thank you to we got Darth Vader in here. Thank you. And then we got Nicole in here. We're glad to see you. We also Neil Stepp. Thank you for showing up. We appreciate you. Betty Bop's in the house. Thank you so much. Charlton here. We got let me see who else we got here. Lily asked some very good questions. The Salto Marine Brown Lady. Yes, indeed. Family, we thank you. Benny is in the house. Thank you. That's one of my day ones right there. You understand? War, we are resistant. Thank you for being in here too. We appreciate y'all.
Can you see me or hear me? Can't see me?
I can hear you, but can't see you.
All right, give me 1 second.
I feel for you, but I can't reach you. Then we have 66 Love. Thank you for showing up. We appreciate you so much. U.S. Army Grunt. Thank you. Now listen what U.S. Army Grunt says. Wish we had all these tools in 1991 when I got out. I would have not missed a lot of benefits now with help of YouTube as help. Thank you. Yes, indeed. I had to get my family to bring me some water. I got a refrigerator here, no water. Now let's see what we talking about. We got family. Let's go and get them likes up. If you haven't done so far, hit them likes. We want y'all to do that. We thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Now listen what Neil Stepp says. PGA Hope introduced golf to veterans and active duty military to enhance their physical, mental, and social and emotional well-being. They have something that I remember. Which sister used to do this here? I forget which sister used to tell us about. I think it was Bionic Woman. They got a program up in the, I want to say Dallas, Fort Worth area, where you can go there when veterans have issues that you can work together. And some of these programs actually help you get your benefits. Yes, indeed. Can y'all think of anything else? And you're right, U.S. Underground. I wish they had programs like this. I really wish they would have. Oh, I didn't know that. Somebody was talking about, Lily was saying, and able to pay back 3 years city government jobs. Now, if I think what Lily is saying, and I want y'all to understand something, follow me on this here, that when you are, let's say you go into the military, you already had a career. All right, there's two ways this is going to work. If I was teaching school before I joined the military, when I get out, my military time will count towards my raises and my retirement, and automatically. But if I didn't do that, I can buy back my military time afterward, where that'll go toward my retirement at my state job. Are y'all listening to me? They got different programs. We got Rainbow in here, Rainbow PB. Thank you for being here so much. Any questions, comments, concerns, let us know. Me and my brother trying to make this thing happen. Say, yep. Now I say, okay, so let me see. There go a page right there. Yes, indeed. Let me ask y'all, family. My brother about to come up here. He is.
There we go.
Now, what made you get into these therapeutic programs, brother?
So what I saw while I was happening with the legacy organizations, as I like to call them, the legions, the VFWs, AMVETS, Marine Corps League, your local organizations that tend to have a small local following, but their primary concerns have seemed to change from helping veterans and community to being a bar. And,
literally.
Yeah, so they literally, are focusing more on the canteen than they are the operation of the community. And, after going through the seats of the Legion, starting as a junior vice commander, senior vice, becoming the commander for 3 years, and then, seeing what it would take to make changes in the building, and, talking to the committee, and then, talking with the trustees, getting stuff voted down. It was disheartening to see that, we had a building that the bar was in the basement, and in the basement, there's only a urinal. So we were keeping away people that, weren't able to use the facilities because of that.
Right,
we were keeping away people that couldn't make it downstairs because of our staircase and not being able to, have an elevator or, a ramp to get down. So we were, keeping back a lot of the veteran community, So I said, hey, let's move everything upstairs, use the hall area, we don't have to use the whole thing. We can, partition it off and, use that, during the, the week. And then if we have a rental, we'll use it downstairs for that night, And
how was that received?
The trustees said absolutely not and would not do it. And then within a year later, our building was sold.
Now, let me ask you, did they give a reason why they wouldn't do it?
They said they wouldn't do it because that wouldn't allow people to be able to have, events, or they wouldn't be able to, promote the, because renting the hall is, more favorable to raise money than it is, the bar. So they thought that, we were going to be competing, having the bar, having the bar upstairs for the members to be able to come in and utilize. And they didn't understand that there's more than just a bar that people are coming to see, that if folks came in, if we have the pool table going and we have, a pinball machine and we've got, a Buck Hunter video game and different things like that folks can come in and engage with and be able to spend their time with their fellow veterans in the community, that is, is worth it in itself to have the space open.
So you were trying to bring a fresh, young perspective on how to deal with these things. And do you think they ever made the connection? Did anybody ever come back and say, you know what, Mike, you're right. I wish we would have listened to you.
Nope, they literally, it was after the building was sold. They said, we should have gone with, different ideas instead of, staying in our ways, because they, like I said, we lost a spot for veterans to be able to go. Veterans now do not have that location where they're able to, to meet up and be together with other veterans.
Do you think that this is going to be a domino effect, more and more legions as they age, and it's going to get older and older, and as veterans pass away, are the younger veterans going to be coming into these facilities, these VSOs and American Legions halls and things like that?
Oh, it's absolutely going to be, a snowball effect that happens. You see it, all over the place where, organizations are closing. We even like the post I was a part of in Somerville, Massachusetts. They sold their parking lot to be able to be redeveloped into, condos. And so now there are these, giant luxury condos that are there that used to be the parking lot. And the VFW was actually in the basement of a bank. So the VFW, the bar was downstairs, and then they had the hall, which was, on one side of the building, and the bank was on the other side of the building. And so, sold the parking lot, got this brand new, $2 million building built. They decided to put the canteen upstairs because they wanted to have the hall downstairs. They put an elevator in so they could get, older veterans in, and, made all this stuff nice. But they haven't made the changes to the organization itself, to the members, to the, doing things that will bring the next generation of vets in. Like tonight, I'm wearing a shirt for Team Red, White, and Blue. They're an organization that meets up together and they do events, whether it's, a 5K or, the obstacle challenges. They go and do different, physical activities. And then they also will do social events too. And it's like, you need to be able to work with organizations like that to be able to say, hey, down in Dallas, we've got Team Red, White, and Blue Dallas. Why don't they come and meet at the local post, once a month, do a run out of here. And afterwards they can come and hang out and, the folks in that organization can talk to the folks in this organization and, build up that camaraderie between the two and see what happens.
So you saying make it more where the veterans more active than passive sitting around drinking at a bar. Do you feel like a lot of these places are centered around drinking alcohol?
Absolutely. And I've seen a lot of posts that are more willing to help the local drunk than they are the local vet. Because they see the guy that sits in the stool over the guy that, sits at home and is a paper member. They see the guy in the stool as a more favorable face.
And love to Raider HQ coming through.
Thank you very much.
Now, brother, this is the gap. Okay, the gap is, and you've taught me so much dealing with this. The gap is the disconnect. Where do you think the biggest disconnect is between? Is it between the Vietnam veterans and the Gulf War veterans, the first Gulf War, or is the first Gulf War and Vietnam kind of lumped together, and the second Gulf War people really separated socially or in the way we think? What do you think the biggest gap is?
I think the GWAT vets really, pushed further beyond, that post 9/11, veteran class. I think they really, have pushed things differently. We grew up in a digital world. We grew up, doing things differently. That's why I think things like, having a place where guys can go to a gaming lounge and, and play on an Xbox together would be, having a poker night, and, things like that. If you're going to do one, we should at least be trying the other and, see what we can do. And, being able to have veterans connect from home, because sometimes for whatever reason, a veteran, may be isolating, but they're still a vet and they still need to be reached out to for, for outreach and for, different events. And, if we can connect them to the post virtually, it's the same as if they're coming in and, sitting at the bar to me.
Well, I want to ask you this here. Is there a fear of losing control? Meaning the people the older we get set in our ways. So when some youngster come, we talking about, you just got here a few days ago. When you was in diapers, I was over here, and I was over there on this base, and I was fighting over here. Do you think there is closed ears, or is it people just fear change? What do you think the problem is?
Oh, I think it's, is giving up that banner, is waiting to pass it on to the next gen. We had a commander up in that Somerville post. He wanted to see through the transition of being commander and, getting in the newspapers and everything for, getting the new post established and, getting all this. And, he would also, anytime a new member came into the post, he would put himself as the recruiter. And all of a sudden he's getting all these awards and stuff at the national conventions for being a top recruiter, because anybody that came into the post and joined, he just put himself as their recruiter. And it was like, And then when it came time for us to vote him out, we had a good push of, we wanted a younger guy. We wanted a Desert Storm and GWAT veteran to,
Yes.
to be the next commander. And, this gentleman was a Vietnam veteran, and he actually called up guys, had them fly in from all over the country to come sit and vote so he would be able to stay commander.
Okay. Family, y'all don't get mad at me. One of the reasons I kind of stopped doing the organization over at the VA was I had issues with some Vietnam veterans, not all. That I'm just gonna be honest. Can we talk here, brother? I'll take the heat of something out, but listen, many of them are cool, and some of the best people helped me with my benefits. Some were stuck in their ways. They did not feel like nothing needed to change. We talked about going online and doing stuff online. They wasn't for it. Some of the people that were kind of in charge, and this tends to be an issue. They're not thinking about the long game. Okay, you save yourself. Huh? What the Bible say? What does it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul? So you got to position, but how is there going to be a proper transition for the next generation? No, I'm worried about me, what I got. Okay.
But I will say, though, the first person on that flight line to shake my hand when I came home was a Vietnam veteran. They did make sure that we did not have that same return home that they did. They ensured that. So I will give them credit every day of my life for that, for, coming home, getting off that plane and having a Vietnam veteran shake my hand and say, welcome home. And that was one of the greatest experiences I ever had.
So that's what I'm saying. I think in every genre, that's whether you peacetime or not, family. We cool. We just using the war thing as the time frame. That's all. But you're gonna have issues with Desert Storm phase because people are people, and with the young ones, what I like about you, you don't feel from what, and don't let me speak for you. We got Sister Grace Smith in the house. Say, H-Town, good evening. Okay, go ahead, brother.
No, I was just saying, in my post, several things, fear of the next generation, fear of being forgotten, generational change, and how we deal with things. Older vets, have no respect for youngers and vice versa.
So what we did, one thing we did right, and I'm gonna let you finish. You have something to say.
Yep, go ahead. So
what we did when veterans were in a part of our group, now that's one thing we did do. We took pictures of them and we took group pictures together because Vietnam veterans were exposed to a lot of chemicals. So it's a lot of them, while I was there, had started passing away. And I was touched one time. One of I forget my brother's name was Gonzalez, Vietnam veteran. He passed away. His daughters didn't know exactly where he went to the VA hospital to meet us, but they was out in the hallway when he passed away with flyers say, "Hey, do you know my father?" Because my father said this place helped him and touched his life. And we brought his daughters up there, and they talked, and we talked to them, and people, blessed and gave financial blessings, and they didn't ask for nothing. But this is very important that we bridge the gap between the generations. I don't even know if we thought about doing that. I think us talking about this is the first time, and you motivated me to do this. You because I didn't think. I thought about video games because I play them. But Vietnam veterans, that's like something totally foreign, and they want something that brings people together, but because they thinking from their mind, their time, and they have no games like that. But we need to bridge the gap with all of us, I think, and I think you got a point. What you saying, bro? Go ahead.
And definitely, looking at that, you got that, the gaming, even when you look at a young veteran coming home, having their family and having to choose spending time between your little ones and spending time with your fellow veterans, that's a decision folks got to make, and that's where these organizations should be doing things. Like in North Attleboro, we do a coffee and camaraderie event where we have we got video games set up, we have card games, board games, and veterans will bring their kids out there, and the kids will play together, playing a couple rounds on video games. They'll play, Knock 'em Sock 'em Robots. They'll play all the different games that we have there. And they enjoy the time together. Well, the fathers and the mothers are able to, chat with one another and say what's going on, what's the latest, I can share, the different things, a new app that the VA's got going on, or a new program that's out there, able to share the stuff and say, hey, this is what's happening, this is what you need to know about.
Now, Rainbow says something now. Rainbow PB say we all went through the poop, and the only a Lieutenant Dan would qualify the conditions and character of every person, being much less than Lieutenant Dan and his same type of people. Now, listen, do you think that we veterans in general, we're kind of open to welcoming other veterans, huh? Do you think we kind of closed off kind of to ourselves?
I think for the most part, veterans are open, but there are a small group of these, the veteran bros that, still want to have the pissing contest as if they're still in the service, and, they think their shit don't stink and want to say, hey, we want to, say, this is what I did, this is what I did, this is how cool I was, this is the stuff the Army issued me, this is what I got, it's like, guess what? We're all in the same place now, it didn't get you anywhere different than it got me. We're all on the other side of that piece of paper. So,
yes. And see, we don't do, Betty brings up a key point. You got somebody here, Scarlet Mind, showing love to you.
Hey, Scarlet, how are you? Welcome.
Yes, indeed. Say, just stop by to hit the like and say hi. Much love. Now, Betty says a key thing, and this is an issue I asked you when you were live on my broadcast. I asked you about what about a family dinner night and now. First she said, what about women veterans? What about that one right two above that? What about women veterans? It was about two above that.
A lot of like organizations and stuff. My ex-wife was joint military with me, and the first time we went to some organizations, they asked her if she was going to join the auxiliary, and it was like, they automatically typecasted her, not saying, that she was going to be, a VFW member, where she had already qualified being in Afghanistan and Iraq. They asked her if she wanted to be part of the auxiliary, and like her hometown had given her an auxiliary membership when she came home from Afghanistan. And it was like,
tell us the difference. What's an auxiliary? Because I'm not as familiar with the.
So auxiliary would be the spouse, would be the, they're not the veteran themselves. So they automatically associated, female not being the veteran, and that's bullshit.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So I came from, military police, which is a co-ed, MOS. So from day one in training, I've had females serving by my side. And, and I won't, drop anything on them, because, the stuff that they go through is even worse than, what the men have to endure, because, not only are they doing what they have to do, but they're doing it from a smaller platform and doing it from, more up against them to start. So
exactly, being acknowledged as being a veteran or a military member sometimes is an issue. Now, Betty says, what about a family and dinner night, grill night? I feel jealous because my brother here, y'all have stuff that we're not doing down here in Texas. So maybe we can learn from you. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. Like I said, a lot of these guys, would bring up, the spaghetti dinners that they used to do, and, the bingo nights, or the, karaoke nights and things like that, and these things would still, go over, if you do it the first time and you only get, 50 people to come out through the night, that's a success. If you get 5 people to come out, that's a success, because you've gotten somebody out that previously wouldn't have been at the post or at the organization,
Okay. Is it a way to do it? Go ahead.
And it's just, it's just reaching it and, putting it out there and finding what your community is into, is what your area of folks like to do. Like you said, my generation, this GWAT generation, doesn't seem to be the drinkers anymore, and that's true across the, civilians or veterans. The amount of people that are drinking is plummeting. So, whether it's, changes in drinking and driving laws, or, changes in, what alcohol costs and what it does, or just folks being like, more health conscious and, knowing what things do to your body, all that, adds in and makes people, not the same as the, previous generations. So we can't keep treating veterans like we did previous generations.
Now you brought up a key word, treating as far as that's what happens with alcohol. It was used to self-medicate for many years when people did not know how to get treatment. Many of us are getting treatment now. Rainbow said a thing. We're going to get to your other statement, Betty, but Rainbow said something down here. My gunner was female, less than 5 feet total, totally vicious, M2 gunner. To get her to stop when she was in the zone, we had to break the bell. Wow. Yeah, because hey, those you skillful at your job, that's what matters. See, here, my thing is, I don't see a problem with veterans of certain groups getting together. Women veteran ones get together, veterans in the Marines, or different groups of veterans, whatever it is. But the main thing, we should also have a place where we able to unite and come together. What made you be a person that wanted to unify veterans once you got your mind clear on what you wanted to do? What was this thing that you want to reach out?
For me, it was just, providing that alternate opportunity, providing that third space. I wanted a place where veterans could go that's not home and does not work, and it's what these veteran service organizations, are pitched to us as, but then when you actually physically go to them, it's not that. And I'm not even looking to make it, have to be Hellfish Haven that does it. If another organization is, more well funded and able to get through the political table of getting something organized, I will absolutely support and back them, to create a place like this. We need a safe, sober environment for, veterans, their families, and caregivers to be able to go get educated, have some entertainment, and and be able to be around other vets.
Now, here's the key thing, what he's saying, because I'm not a drinker. I like to fight tall guys when I drink, so you don't want me drinking. He said safe, sober environment. If you're going to have the young people around, you don't need a whole bunch of drunk people around. And so that's really important. You're going to have families around. You need to make sure they do that. Now, this is an issue that I've always dealt with. Bro, you got something to say, just let me know. Cut me off. Look, good evening, Desert Raider. Evening, H-Town. And we are here with our brother, Hellfish Haven. Yes, indeed. Founder and director. Listen, but man, you got to say the whole thing. Now, listen, Betty said something that really a lot of veterans have issues with. If you would have to rate the VHA family on a scale from 1 to 10, what would you give to the veteran healthcare system in your city or state? Now, she say that happens a lot with women veterans, even at the VA hospital. Because some people have good experiences at the VA hospital. I catch anxiety because it's a hit or miss. Brother, I don't know. Do you prefer to go to community care? Do you think the VA hospital, we could have events over there? What would y'all give y'all VA healthcare system in your area?
So we're very blessed to have the Boston, area up here. We have the doctors that are working over at the the large Mass General, your Harvard, students that trained at these giant universities, and they not need to pay off their student loans, and the best way they're doing that is do a couple years working at the VA. They walk away from those student loans, and they're also gaining the experience that they need for progress their careers. Yes. So we have a good staff rotating through. But like you said, there's a lot of empty rooms in those buildings. There's a lot of stuff that could be opened up and turned into something different, and being able to you've got these veterans that are living at the hospitals. You've got these guys that don't leave the campus, and there is nothing for them. I watched it took almost 2.5 years to turn a big open foyer into a library.
Why it took so long?
Just the tape, the nonsense. Once they got up and running, now they've got a library, and then you go in, you can grab a book, and drop off books, and folks keep it going, and keep the shelf stacked with different books and literature for folks to be able to use while they're in the hospital.
Okay, now U.S. Army Grunt said the VFW and American Legion back in the 1980s and 90s only wanted Vietnam vets, us Cold War vets, or at least me, wasn't welcome since I wasn't a combat vet. Now, brother, how can we deal with this combat vet, non-combat vet thing? If you're a combat veteran, I got love for you, and we have a certain communication. But me personally, you can give your opinion. I'm just speaking. Me personally, I ain't never seen that as something I can do nothing with, other than they asked me to do something, I did it. If people that are not combat veterans, they was asked to do their job, they did what their job was. Nobody say, hey, I'm going straight to the combat. You don't have no choice in it. Either they put you in it or not. So do you think it's too much guilt trip on this? I'm a moral authority because I'm a combat veteran, or am I overreacting? Talk to me, brother.
No, there's definitely, too much emphasis put on folks, and, too much, self-congratulatory, bullshit on that end too, is you literally, you served and you went where Uncle Sam sent you.
Yes.
You didn't decide to go here, you didn't decide to go there, you got sent to where the needs of the Army put you. And so that's where people served, and that's how they went there. Yeah, there was a time when people were volunteering for tours and things like that to go, back and back over. But it's not like that always, And so to compare yourself to somebody else, who didn't go anywhere, is complete horseshit. Like for myself and Travis, Travis is a non-combat vet, I'm a combat vet. We don't have a battle about it. We are both veterans. We both served our country and answered the call and did what we could do. And now we're still out there fighting for our community, ensuring that we're able to get past, a stigma that's around mental health, and ensure that guys say, hey, something's wrong with me, I got to do something, instead of staying isolating and then possibly hurting themselves.
Yeah, let me ask, so did you do more than one tour?
I did 3 tours in Iraq and a tour in Kuwait.
Okay, so some people say, well, I only did one tour myself. Then I had some saying, well, I was an infantryman, you was in a tank combat. I mean, and what are we doing here? We gonna measure everything? Oh, I wrote with a pen, you wrote with a pencil. Come on, man. Desert Raider say he would rate his it's right after he said he would rate his VA healthcare facility 8. And then Jimmy Elmore say, evening folks. He say only had 2 bad folks at the VHA. H-Town says 7. Oh Lord, I'm speaking for myself. Betty would rate it as a 3 in Maryland, and a 3. And then U.S. Army Grunt give theirs a 5. Jimmy Elmore Shreveport a 5. Wow. Now Charlton say the same with Blue Water Navy off Vietnam. They VFW American Legion said they weren't deployed to Vietnam. They were deployed to Vietnam. They were off the coast. They had pilots falling in the water. They would have to get the pilots out. I don't know. Does the VA play a role in this or not? Because benefits is not necessarily based on whether you were in combat or not. It's some injury. And I like what you said earlier. And I want to go back to y'all better, if you're not subscribed to his channel, please subscribe to Hellfish Haven. He said it real clear. It's not just that you have the condition, it's current medical diagnosis, how it's affecting you now. In so many words you said. Benny give his a 2, and then Grace gives hers a 5. Wow. Now, yes, a very rude community care is better for me. What would you rather, brother, if you don't mind saying? Would you rather go to community care, private doctor, or to the VA?
So for me,
if you had the money.
For me, I've done both because, sometimes, things are, set back at a certain amount of time, and you're able to use that community care because of that. So, based on the guidelines that I've given, sometimes, you're like, oh, I've got, 6 months for an appointment, it says I'm supposed to be able to, get something within, 30, 90 days, go ahead and push out the community care. And then also being medically retired, I have TRICARE. So,
oh, look at you with your bad self. Now I'm finally jealous of him. I can't be jealous because he's a combat veteran, but now I found a difference that made me. Now let him know, brother, it ain't your choice. Can your dependents, what let's say, I don't know if you're 100%, but if a veteran is 100% and medically retired, okay, Champ VA or TRICARE, can they get can they choose which one they want?
TRICARE only.
Did you hear that? So if you're a military retiree or you get medically retired and you have TRICARE, now the difference with TRICARE is going to be for you and your dependents. Champ VA is you get it when you're 100%. Let's say you retired or medically retired, you end up with 100%. Here's the thing. Once you get that 100%, they won't let you have Champ VA. They only let you have TRICARE, which is kind of good because you can use it too as a veteran. Champ VA only goes to your dependents. So I don't know. Did y'all know that? Let us know. Yes, if you knew that. Ian, if you didn't know that. Now, go ahead, brother. Don't let me run my mouth. But Rainbow PB said something. Combat veterans versus non-combat veterans are a bunch of penisless poop heads trying to be a big you know what by being very confrontational. Now, have you ever had personally running somebody barking the combat thing and just going off about that with you? Have you ever had that issue? Like it should be like Lieutenant Dan say, Lieutenant Colonel Gabe, only combat veterans should get VA disability.
Yeah, I've seen it out there. It does exist. And unfortunately, especially on social media, you see it. Overemphasized. Because I don't know if folks are playing the part to rage bait folks into engagement, or folks are just actually meaning this stuff. Sometimes people on online platforms are playing a part, are being what do you say, a dickless poopy head to just to be that character. They're not actually that in real life, but on social media and on these platforms, that's what gets them the clicks. That's what gets them the views. And that's what gets them either the hate support or the feigned support from somebody else that agrees with them. Whoever's paying the pocket is going to be what view they have.
Why did you choose not to do anything to get clicks or views? Did you come in with that mindset, or when you notice how certain things, if you fear monger a little bit, or you might did a video that was a serious video, but people was scared because of the topic. You say, well, I need to make more scary topics. What's your perspective? Because you seem to be wanting to be more relaxed and do things that calm veterans down with all of these programs you're talking about.
Yeah. So what I want to do is I want to give folks a chance to be a better version of themselves. I don't want to get folks all riled up over, the latest and greatest, scary thing that the VA is going to do. The VA is always going to change. Programs are always going to go against us. Politicians are always going to not like us and use us for, photo ops and then not pass a bill against us. I'll fight those fights on my own, on my social media accounts. I don't need to be blasting it on YouTube and, getting a small amount of followers from that. I just want to have the folks that, are local, the folks that understand the organization, and the folks that are, on the same page, that want to be able to share these, methods of, grounding, of mindfulness, of, being able to work on yourself to be able to get the best care possible. Because, if you're not willing to do it, nobody else is going to help you.
Seem like you're doing a lot to bring veterans together, not trying to divide them by gender, not trying to divide them by combat status. Now, Neil says something in New Jersey, because I did not serve during wartime, I do not get civil service preference. I thought you just have to be a service connected or something to get civil service. You don't have to be a combat veteran. I don't know. That's why I was wondering. I didn't, and she said she didn't know that. Emma Attorney say, I would rate my local CBOC. Tell me, what is a CBOC? Y'all know?
It's the community-based outpatient clinic.
Okay, at 8. I also go to Ann Arbor, Michigan. I want that. That's what AMI said. For more complicated things, I would give Ann Arbor a 9. I find VA healthcare system to be way better than community care. That's interesting.
So those C blocks are really nice too, because when you go out there and you have a small VA contingency in the community like that, but sometimes the way that they're aligned is quite odd. Like for me, like when I was living north of Boston, I went to a C block that was in Lynn, but it was attached to Bedford, which was more out towards the center of Mass. And but I was right there next to Boston to live, but they had me affiliated with a different VA. So it is nice to have, but sometimes their host or their parent VA is a little different.
Well, I'm embarrassed, brother, because I have no idea what a C body is. Could you tell us what a C body is? Some people may not know, or it might just be me.
Yeah. So your community-based outpatient clinic, they'll usually have mental health. They'll have a provider there. Your basic your provider who you see for your common things. Your
it's a VA clinic.
Yeah. So it's a small VA clinic is usually one floor, maybe 4 or 5 rooms.
Okay. It's just a clinic.
Go in and just get small things done. And like they'll have rotating staff through there. They'll have a mental health provider will be there Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Physical therapy on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Wow. Now listen, Charlton say Neil Step state VA preference is different from federal. State, you just get points added to the civil service test. Now you say down here, state hiring places just to have to interview, not guaranteed job position. Wow.
Absolutely, Betty. You are welcome to. Let me know first,
What'd she say? She said,
she said if I do fear mongering and baiting, that she's gonna unsubscribe and block me.
No, don't talk like that. We love. Oh Lord. Now look, Jimmy says this. Jimmy Elmore says this. I can socialize better at the VA than I can in community care. Now that's one difference. I do feel comfortable being around more veterans at the VA. Now that's very interesting. Now, somebody said something up here back. Rainbow Poop. He had a second statement where he say, "We all talking about the combat veterans and versus non-combat veterans. Say we all volunteered to do a job. We met the standards then, and now if we met the standards for the VA healthcare compensation, then we have met the standard." And I did a video showing if it happened in duty. Because let me tell you, there's some combat veterans that don't qualify for benefits because they got a dishonorable discharge. There's some combat veterans that did horrific things in country and on bases that don't qualify for nothing. So just having that, we thank people for the sacrifices that they make, but you can't change the rules. Once we sign up, that's when we sign a rule. You can't come up with a rule once you get to the end of the game. That's called cheating. If you change the rules in the middle of the game, that's called cheating. Wow, we got Will in here. What Rainbow say? Would agree with Grace about Hampton VA and agree with Betty Boss about the Maryland healthcare, but getting no care is very bad. Now that's a problem. Keep to try. And when you get tired, call a friend. What can we do to get the veterans out? What's up? And we got Will. Hey, much love to Will in the house.
Now, I'm saying, ain't nothing like a good cup of coffee at the VA before your appointment, and that, is a form of, camaraderie for folks. That is people being able to, to talk and, to spend time with other veterans. And that's what I think, these organizations need, there should be something set up on Saturday mornings at the VA. There should be, something set up at, different organizations that are trying to do stuff, It doesn't have to be at a VFW or an American Legion. Any of these organizations that, want to help out and want to do something different could just host it. You've got a little, a diner or something in a small town that's got 5 or 10 vets, if you did a veteran hour once a month, I bet you those 5 or 10 vets would be there and start telling their friends about it. And
you know what I didn't like? They closed down the kitchen at the veteran of VBA. They closed down the kitchen. Why you do that? And I didn't know at the VA hospital they had an auditorium. They did a big thing. They had an actor come in there who did like a play thing. He was doing oratory history, and I'm like, they got these big rooms. Why don't they engage us veterans more often with this? Look, he said, just subscribe to your channel, Hellfish. Neil Stepp said, family.
Thank you kindly.
Y'all think it will go on there to subscribe to our brother, give him the support. Because if we got to support our own. If we don't, all the big time people going to take him. He going to be riding around up there in Massachusetts with them fancy cars, and H-Town going to be standing on the sidewalk. He going to hit the mud puddle, mud going to get on me. And I said, I remember when you was coming up, man. Nah, we ain't going to do that. He ain't going to forget us. He ain't going to forget us. And he say, family, y'all are really, oh, we got somebody else now. Is that one of your people, Nina?
Yep.
Oh,
all right, thank you for joining us. We got some Canadian fans in the house.
Oh, Canadian fans in the house. Now, do you have any of your fellow friends that are living, that veterans that are overseas? Anybody in here have any family or your fellow veterans that are living overseas?
We call expats.
Put OS in the chat for overseas, or put overseas, yes. Like expats. Have you ever thought about doing that?
I have. So my wife is Colombian.
Oh, go ahead now.
And so she was adopted from Colombia when she was 6 months old. But because she was born in Colombia, she's still considered, to have that right to be able to go back. And looked into it just because I want my daughter to be able to know, her heritage and everything about, who she is. She's, half American, half Colombian. I want her to know everything that is to do, with both sides. And so as I'm, teaching her different things, and we're teaching her, both English and Spanish, I want her to be able to, possibly go to Colombia one day and see, the country that her mother was born in. And, for that to happen, you look at the different things and you see that, some of these areas have, VA approved facilities that are in these communities that are built of veterans. And, these veterans are, in these other countries set up so that way you can go out there and you can, go to a different place and still, manage your VA, benefits from abroad.
Okay. And Ian will say he have friends overseas. Benny has friends overseas. And Rainbow say 2 in the Philippines, 1 in Portugal, 3 in Spain. Now I want to, and so also Nina Canadian says, I have a friend in Belgium with NATO. Ooh, she is Afghanistanian vet and serving international role now. And then I said, I would love to live in Spain. Where would y'all love to go to? Say, I just returned stateside in May. I remember, where were you at? That's awesome. If y'all had a place, I would go to Spain. You saying you would go to, is it Brazil? Colombia. Now, let me ask you this here. Have you looked into it? If you ever was to move there, how would your VA healthcare be affected? How would because we talk about the international healthcare program, I did a video on that. How would do you think you'd be good with your benefits?
Yeah, for me, it seemed like, I would meet all the requirements, being permanent total and having, things like that, not having to worry about, returning for, physicals and things like that. But, I'm also looking that, they do have coordinated care in these areas. They do have a working establishment where if I need something, say, as I get older and I need things for, say for a shower, I need a handle or, handicap accessibility, things like that to be able to, work for that's available and out there.
So you think you'd be able to get access to the VA helping you with those things? Would you consider going there? And would you, because some guys say they have to come back every 6 months, like from the Philippines, come back to you. Do you have to come back? or are they doing that for their citizenship?
It looks to me like, you know, they're doing that for, you know, other things. What I was reading in the VA's, you know, literature didn't say anything about having to come back for X, Y, or Z. Like it was just saying that, you know, once you're down there, you know, making sure you've got a good, you know, mail set up and a good, you know, kind of web-based, you know, communication with the doctors and everything as well.
So you would go down there and you would live stream from down there. So
Yep.
Neil said 66 Love say like and subscribe. Y'all should have 2 windows open, mine and his, and Hellfish Haven. We got to double this thing. Now Neil say Portugal and Spain. Jimmy Elmore say I would go to the Philippines. Betty say England and the Philippines. Ia Will says the Philippines. And Benny says the Philippines. Now, what is PI? Is that the Philippines? What is that? Like and subscribe, family. Like and subscribe. Go click open 2 windows. We got to make sure we boost this algorithm, getting it going. Brother, if what would be the reason that you would stay here? What if you were having the option to go and it would be a good deal for you and your family to go there? What would keep you here? What make you reluctant to leave? Is it the medical facilities? Is it being around family here? Or you just, you know, you enjoy life more in America? The veteran community is larger here. What is it?
I think for a lot of folks, probably, you know, it is that, you know, the medical facility to be available. The, you know, also, you know, family. You know, for me, you know, my parents and, you know, are 10 minutes drive down the street right now. You know, and I want, you know, for me, you know, for my daughter, I want her to be able to have that relationship with her grandparents and be able to see them as often as she can, you know, before they aren't here.
Now, you were saying earlier about for those of you that are totally disabled through Social Security or through 100% with the VA, totally disabled with the VA, you can get that card, that access card. That card can get you into federal. You showed it to me, I think, on the when you showed me the website.
We're gonna do a quick share screen here.
So, family, if you're 100%, okay, or you totally disabled by Social Security, you can go up there and get the card for free. You can take several family members with you. Now look and say free entrance. Scroll back a little bit. Let me see what they say. Scroll back to the title right quick. Yeah. Say free entrance to national parks for current military, veterans, and Gold Star families. Somebody asked about Gold Star families earlier. Go ahead, brother.
Yep. So you can see right here, you know, everything's this right here. You're gonna click down to passes.
Okay.
This right here is what you're looking for. The America the Beautiful, the National Pass and Federal Recreational Lands Pass.
Oh, that's the one with the most benefits?
Yep.
Okay, they say senior military visitors with permanent disabilities. Okay, wow. So listen, Love just came in and say good evening, H-Town and everyone. Would he be in and I didn't get that to you because we were live, but we're gonna get that information. Hellfish Haven sent it to you. Would he qualify as a helpless child dependent? Love. He at the bottom down
there. I will look into that for you for sure.
He said I already have both. Wow, yep. He already got it. I have an international passport. Real quick. Okay. Oh, look at that. Man, look at that youngin'. That make me want to pay my back child support. Looking at that little beautiful girl there. Listen, I told my ex to check his mail. Hi, how you doing?
Right, everybody in the
I
chat
know your name. Tell everybody your name.
Emily Gary.
Your name's Emily.
Emily. Oh, she gave her whole government name.
Who's that with you? Who's your toy?
Jessie.
And she got Jessie from Toy Story.
Oh, that's Toy Story Jessie. Oh,
yeah,
so sweet. Everybody show love to is it Allie?
Emily.
Emily said.
New Toy Story 5.
Yep.
1, 2,
Did you see the movie?
Size.
Yep, we saw Toy Story 5 recently, so that's why she's so excited to have the new Jessie.
Oh Lord.
Because
Oh.
Whitney Part 2.
And she's got another toy that interacts with it. So when they get close to each other, they can actually talk to one another.
Oh, this is getting too deep here. Oh Lord. We'd have to lock them toys in a room. Everybody's saying, they say, oh, she's gorgeous. Hi, Emily. They say, if only they could stay that small.
Very hate Woody because him and the dumb head. Because him had the wizard, Bowser.
Yeah. And then Woody and Buzz, you know, had their banter going back and forth. And Buzz
she got Buzz. She got Buzz Lightyear too.
And she got mad, you know, Buzz got mad at Woody because Woody's got a bald spot in the new movie. So he keeps making fun of him in the movie.
Family, this is what it's all about. See, our brother over here, he got his family. And our brother got his family over here handling his business. This is what it's all about. Everybody say, sweet lady. Let me see what you said. Now, M said, I have the America the Beautiful access pad.
Yes, that is the one that we want to talk about real quick. I'm going to throw it as the whole screen real quick. I think make us little tiny guys in the corner.
Handle it.
All right, right here. The America the Beautiful Pass. Free. So if you're military dependent, you get this pass for free. You get that lifetime pass, gold family members and veterans, free. That access pass, you
go ahead.
Permanently disabled, free.
So that's this like if you're Social Security, you can get it with Social Security if you're totally disabled. Yes, go ahead.
Yep.
And what does that mean that you can go to what?
You can go to all of these places and be able to go through the parks. Let me see if they got a list here.
Like Yellowstone National Park?
Any park that is run by the National Parks and Federal Recreation Lands.
Did y'all hear that? So the Spanish missions down in San Antonio that's been here in Texas since I want to say the 15 or 1700s. The Spanish missions been there. It's not just the Alamo down there.
So you get one vehicle and 4 persons to go National Park Services, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services, U.S. Forest Services, Bureau of Land Management, Bureau of Reclamation, and U.S. Army Corps of Engineers facilities.
Yeah, because I went to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. I got my ID over here.
And you see this one here, that little purple one? That purple one I have for being a veteran.
So I need the new one. Mine is, when did you get the new one?
So I got that one 2 years ago.
Okay, so I hadn't got one in over 12, 13 years. I need to get a new. Why sell show a price? That price is not actually, that's for other people, right?
This is for folks that don't meet the criteria. If you're just a U.S. citizen resident, this is how much it would cost. Non-U.S. residents.
Wow, $250. Now, do your dependents get waived, or can I take, let's say I took a family member that's not a dependent or a friend. I got up to 4 people, or
4
they have
people.
to be.
Well, if you're in one vehicle, you get up to 4 people to go with you.
So is that going to be, I'm going to be included as the 4th
Yes,
person?
you're part of that. So it's you plus 3.
Okay, so if you went your family and let's say you had 5 kids. Hello.
All right, Emily's going to be going.
What? Just go get him, Buzz Lightyear. Away. Wow, family. This is great here. Now look, if you got your
show you Buzz real
park
quick.
Look, you got. I like Buzz.
Yeah.
I like it. Oh, they're gonna start talking. Now, I didn't know that.
There might be a wedding at the end of Toy Story 5. I'm not going to give away any spoilers, though.
Oh, okay. We got to watch that. Jimmy said, I have a national pass card. It's okay. We love it. Now, anybody else in here has the national pass card, and do you have one for your state? Now, listen to what Love said. I have the lifetime access pass. Wow. So that means, family, if you're in California, you can go to the, I don't know if they charge you, but you can go to the, with those big old sequoia trees in different parks. Now, do they have any state parks that you can go to? Do they offer any state benefits for y'all?
So Mass has the Department of Conservation Recreation, DCR, and you can get a DCR pass in Mass if you're a 100% disabled veteran.
Now, so that's for the state parks?
Yep. So that's the state parks. So all your state forests, your things like that. Up in Boston, some of the commons areas are considered state parks. Castle Island, it all falls under the Department of Recreation. And with that, you can go on their website, dcr.ma.org. State, it's like state.ma. So just look up DCR, Massachusetts. You can find it.
Okay, our brother say you have to be 100% in his state. Talking about you, in my state, you got to be 60% disabled. What's the percentage in y'all state? Let us know the state. In Texas, you have to be 60% to get the state park. Go in the state parks. What do you have to do with y'all state parks? Okay, now we say Jimmy said from state is a day pass for state parks. Okay. Love say I have the state park access also. Better say 21 likes and 15 watching and say both. Wow. Then each time we say 60%, you got to be 60% disabled. And you get your hunting and fishing license too. Grace say Virginia, I have no clue. Find out. Now listen what I'm amazed that in your state, Massachusetts, you got to be 100%. Now, MM say free camping at all state parks in Ohio for 100% veterans. Now, do I have to be a resident of that state? Let me know. Do I need to bring my award letter or what do I need to do? What type of documentation if I went to Massachusetts, brother? $6.50 for up to a 2-week reservations for a full hookup site. Can't beat it. Wow. Louisiana, you got to be 100%. Now we got Timmy in here. Tim Morrison. Everybody, we kind of miss he was up there. Tim say 5 watching, 13 thumbs up. He at the last one. He's in a purple looking like. But thank you, Tim, for being here. Now, say remind me of my grands. Don't Emily make you think of that? I tell you, she may want to pay my back child support. Almost. Now listen. Now, brother, what's the next venture you want to do? Anything, any programs personally you want to be a part of that's therapeutic?
Just the big things like for me, like what I see is going out there and like why I want to mention this pass and why I got this pass was because I spent so much time away from the country, so much time fighting for the country that I want to be able to take the time to see the country. Folks always talk about, they want to go to Europe, they want to go, here, there, everywhere around the world. I want to see what this country has and what beauty lies within and why, so many folks are willing to go serve and to, put their lives on the line for it. Yes.
We serve and sacrifice for a country that we don't even get to enjoy. I've never been to Yellowstone National Park and I need to go. I'm going to try to go by next year. Love say, I get the fishing license, so saltwater fishing is free. Water is at a discount. At 60%, fishing and hunting license are free here, but you can get one buck, one this and so many fish. But I'm a crabber. I like the crab. I don't know if y'all have crabs like blue crabs up there in Massachusetts.
Yeah, also there's seafood out here. I mean,
yeah,
folks out there at the Cape are just grabbing everything.
Yeah, and would you do it on a road trip, or would you just go to one? Now, you may not say the words. I don't know. I'm not good with acronyms. They got lodges. They got lodge one in Colorado, where you can go there. Very beautiful. What they call it, MR, and recreations. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, MRE. No, MRE. MWR.
Yeah, MWR and recreation.
Yep. So the Morale, Welfare, and Recreation, they've got these different programs that are out there for folks to be able to use, and you can go to the bases and you can stay like the base down in Newport, Rhode Island. It is very beautiful down in Newport, Rhode Island. They've got a lot of mansions, things like that, right on the water. The
Okay.
beaches, everything. And if you ever seen the movie with Brad Pitt, he comes down, he's like an angel of death or something.
Yeah. Yeah, what was that at?
And so they have like the movie, they have the party at the mansion at the end at that big mansion right on the water. So that's down in Newport, Rhode Island. And
they shoot a lot of movies in your state.
Yeah. So if folks want to go down there and check it out, like you got things like that, and you go up to these bases and you can stay for cheaper sometimes on post, and those things like that. You want to look into planning these events that you're going on. Like you said, if you even look at the the retirees activities if you're retired, or just talk to the MWR representative in that area, and they can give you ideas on places to go and different events that you could travel on, whether you're going out on a day to go fishing on the ocean, whether you want to go ice fishing in the winter somewhere.
The key thing is to plan ahead. If y'all want to do a road trip, put road trip. M says Joe Black, Meet Joe Black is the movie. Okay.
Absolutely.
The Service Connection says, good evening. Yes, indeed. Service Connection. Look, family, we about to wrap it up in a minute. So let any final statements, questions of our brother. We got Hellfish Haven, aka Mike, aka Massachusetts, all that. It's all good. Show love to the Service Connection fam. Now he asked you a question, the Service Connection. Are you from Rhode Island?
I'm not. I'm actually right on the border. I'm right in southeast Massachusetts, right there, Rentham, Foxborough area.
How long would it take you to get to Rhode Island? In a
3
drive?
minutes.
Huh?
3 minutes.
Oh man, this man, we gonna catch him at the border and we gonna get him deported back to Massachusetts. We not letting you be. Listen, somebody get on that board. I'm hating on you already. I'm sorry, man. Somebody get on that board.
Right there,
That's right.
Just go right to the wood line, and I'll be in the other side on Rhode Island.
Yes, sir, brother. So let me know. We're gonna let it wrap up. Everybody show love and say yo.
Absolutely. We're very grateful to have you guys, tonight, and the folks in your chat, welcome over, joining us, collaborating tonight. And this is the stuff that, we like to do and we like to see is, veteran organizations, veteran channels working together, nothing to gain or to push to you guys. We're not pressing anything for you guys to purchase or buy or, anything like that. He's monetized over there. If you want to send a super chat or anything like that, you guys are welcome to show some love to H-Town.
Do you have a cash app?
Yeah. We just do donations to Hellfish Haven. So if you go hellfishhaven.org, you'll be able to see there.
Did you put it? You want to put in the chat, or you had where they can find it? If y'all want to donate to our brother, because we over here, I want y'all to. If y'all gonna throw a blessing toward my brother here. If he got it, he got it. Because this brother's been solid, good people, and
so here the two websites at the bottom that we normally run is OscarMikeRadio.com. That's Travis. He's normally here. Right now he's on mission tonight, so he's not able to join us. But he and I normally do W.A.R. We Are Resilient on Thursday nights. And this week especially, Travis is going to hit episode 500. So 500 episodes, this man has done a podcast to be able to help the veteran community, to be able to get the word out on what folks are doing and be able to share the stories, and the way this man does it is just a remarkable thing. He's, that person that when you talk to him, they just pull the questions from you so easy to keep the story engaging and keep it going. There's no dead air when he's chatting with somebody. So be able to check out, Travis, he's a Marine Corps veteran over at OscarMikeRadio.com. He's on every platform that podcasts are on, whether it's Spotify, Apple or YouTube. You can get his stuff there. Hellfishhaven.org is the platform for my organization. Like I said, we do a lot of events with the VFW. We've got an event coming up with the DAV. They're going to have a beach party that we're going to be a part of to be able to have some things out there. We're going to have like a lasso toss game, like an arcade basketball game outside that we're just gonna have for folks to be able to play. Like I said, anything to be able to build up that camaraderie and to, get veterans talking and sharing, stories with one another again. Because, if they come out to that, then they'll be able to come out and learn things about, how they can help themselves. And again, that's the biggest thing is if we can get rid of the stigma that surrounds seeking help for mental health, that's the biggest thing that we're trying to push with Hellfish Haven and with, the work that I do. It's just let folks know it's okay to say, hey, I need help sometimes.
Yes. And I want to thank you, brother, for having me on. And I like he'd like to do things that keep him from being sedentary where you're just sitting around. We need to stay active for our health and we need to engage. And you notice we can sit here and talk because we are veterans. We're not telling you to go to a secret room in order to get this, order to get that. You can get whatever you need right here. Thank you, brother.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you guys. We'll love it. And then as always, when we sign off here, it's going to do a quick 1 minute. It's going to be a little breathing exercise for you. So guys can, unwind. If it's been a long day for you guys, just watch along with the breathing exercise. Try to work things in as you can, whether it's 3x3 or 4x4. Enjoy the night. Thank you again, H-Town.
Thank you, brother.